Hello, my name is Nathaniel Stout, and I'm currently doing my interpersonal communications project with Liberty University for HSCO 508. Before we begin, just to tell you a little bit about myself, I've been married for over 22 years to my wife Jennifer. We have two wonderful children. Currently, I work at Craven Community College, which is a local community college here in our area. But before that, I was a manager for Walmart, as well as I'm a retired gunnery sergeant from the Marine Corps who served over 20 years. I graduated from Liberty this past spring with a bachelor's in psychology, and I'm currently pursuing my master's degree in human service counseling with a cognitive and crisis counseling. Now, being a gunnery sergeant, being married for over 22 years, having children and working in public places, I've always thought I had an understanding of what communication was all about. But after taking this course, I've come to realize I need help when it comes to communication. So some of my goals concerning this project is to help improve my interpersonal communication skills, first within my own family, as well as within my workplace. I think I'm going to do that by exhibiting the inhaling and exhaling techniques that Stewart talked about throughout the book, as well as implementing the talk listening cards, or the TLC cards that Peterson mentioned, as well as just working on displaying and having more empathy in my listening skills. Try to avoid creating barriers with others, especially being defensive in my own communication, and with the overall reaching goal of just promoting healthy conversation where everyone who's involved can be heard and understood. Just to give you a little background about myself, I grew up in a two-parent home. My father worked in the coal mines as well as a truck driver. My mother's a registered nurse. My father was a very outgoing person. Mother wasn't as much. She was more of an introvert and wasn't as expressive and talked a lot behind closed doors. As a child, I was very socially awkward. I was really an introvert. During times of confrontation, I never really said anything. I remained silent. That was a barrier for me, especially in the military, especially also working with the civilian employment. And it's been a huge barrier for me with my own family. When I did the behavioral blend with Uniquely Blend, my behavioral billing analysis had me as a steady competent. So some of my strengths, I saw myself as being kind, as being peaceful, steady, as being positive for the most part, and very helpful. But I've also come to realize that I needed to be more assertive, I needed to be more stronger, I needed to show more enthusiasm within my conversations, and most of all, I just need to enjoy my relationships I have with others. So when it comes to these communication barriers, one of the first ones that come to mind is just exhaling. In other words, not opening up about my feelings. I'm very hesitant as a person to self-disclose any situation or concern that I may have. But I've noticed, because I am hesitant, this has hindered my relationship with my own family. And also, I don't speak with clarity, and there's a lot of misunderstanding that happens between my own family. I don't speak with that true honesty and that true consistency that people need. And by doing those things, sometimes I can come off as being attacking or judging in nature. I've also become defensive in nature. I always have to believe that I'm right. I refuse to listen to others' concerns because I'm always trying to be the right one, the person. So that puts me into that attack mode. And I'm allowing my own internal emotions, that stomach talk, to dictate my conversations. And all I'm doing is just missing the message. As I said also, that sense of empathy. I avoid not taking the other person's information into account. I'm always trying to be right instead of trying to be committed, as Stewart said, to the conversation. So I'm missing the point, and it just lowers my listening level. Some of the strategies that I think that are going to help me with that is, one, is when I do express my viewpoints that I do so with clarity, that I'm excelling properly as we talk about, that I'm being transparent and credible, that I'm being honest, that I'm sure that the message in itself is being decoded properly, and that they're really understanding what I'm truly feeling. And I want people to understand what my feelings are and try to make sure that they do understand my viewpoint in the conversation. I think using that TLC technique is going to help with that. So when I'm in that talker role, I'm going to be able to communicate without trying to accuse somebody, without attacking on somebody or labeling or judging them. But I'm still able to share my feelings and thoughts in a productive way. But I also got to remind myself that when I'm in that listening role, I'm not trying to agree or disagree or try to give them advice, or most importantly, not trying to defend myself. But I do provide that safe environment for them to be understood and to speak with clarity. I also have to have those level 1 listening skills when it comes to empathy. I need to be attentive to the conversation. I need to have that okay attitude that what they're saying is okay and what I'm saying is okay. I can't allow myself to get hooked to the conversations and prepare to go off and be defensive. One of the relationships that I was thinking about in concerning this is that of a father and a daughter. And being a father of a daughter whose birthday is actually today, during my research, I realized that those that have a consensual, a pluralistic relationship has a more favorable relationship than those that are more protective or don't want to have a relationship at all. And it's because we have that empathy for one another. We're listening to one another's concerns. And I think my action plan is to incorporate these things is one, doing that mealtime game. And I'm planning on doing it every Thursday, once a week with my family, to where everybody can have that opportunity just to express themselves, and we all practice those listening, those TLC skills that Peterson pushed throughout the book. Also, not trying to avoid certain perceptions, avoid being defensive in conversation, and keep those TLC strategies in mind. Speak with clarity so that I can try to avoid resistance so people can truly understand what I'm trying to say. And just trying to promote that open conversation or promote that dialogue with my children and with my wife. Just about allowing them to talk about whatever concern there are, and avoiding distractions and giving them that attentive attention that they desire. And finally, just practicing those irrational statements that were mentioned throughout the book through Stewart. And I think I'll start that with my wife first, just making sure that we are both understood and we're both understanding each other's conversations. Communication barriers are like building bricks walls. And the more that you do, the higher those walls are created. But just as Stewart said, we can build bridges instead of walls by taking those bricks down one brick at a time. By implementing these strategies, by implementing these different action plans, we can take down those barriers and begin to communicate more effectively with one another. And we can have the attitude, as Psalms 19:14 says, that the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be pleasing to you. Thank you and have a nice day.